This is episode 7 in the series about our contribution to the pipeline foundation for the project pydeps. It is the last episode in this series, so we really appreciate you sticking around with us this far. Check out the continuous integration job in the previous episode. Hello, Alex from Singlet here, and in this last video we will cover the continuous deployment part of the project's core CI/CD pipeline. The goal of the continuous deployment CD for short is to deploy the packages to PyPI, push the new version of the project as a GitHub tag to the remote repository, and create a GitHub release linked to the new GitHub tag. The CD job executes when the project version determiner step in the CI job detects that the trigger of the pipeline is a push commit to the default branch that is done in the original repository and the version in the setup.py file is greater than the latest GitHub tag in the remote repository. This is accomplished by using the needs object through which jobs can access the outputs of previously executed jobs. The value of the property should deploy is generated by the project version determiner step and outputted through the CI job. The job is executed inside a Docker container ran on an Ubuntu 20.04. First we clone the repository, but unlike in the CI job, here we use a personal access token because we are going to do Git operations that require authentication. Next, from the pipeline artifacts, we download the packages created in the CI job using the official download artifact action. The packages that we just downloaded from the pipeline artifacts, we now push to PyPI using the popular utility twine for quickly and easily publishing Python packages through the command line. It is important to note that in order to use a PyPI access token for authentication, the value of the option username should be __token__. In the first step of the GitHub deployment section, we push the new tag to the remote repository. Note that the value is accessed through the needs object followed by the ID of the job. Before creating and pushing the tag on line 185 and 186, the Git interface requires a soft authentication by adding a username and email. In the next and last step, we create a GitHub release through the awesome GitHub CLI. There are a couple of things we do here to prepare the release. On lines 191 through 193, from the CI job we gather current package version, the release tag constructed from the current package version, and the previous GitHub tag, which is not called latest anymore since we already pushed the latest tag in the previous step. On line 194, we construct the title of the release. From line 195 to 97, we construct the release notes from a standardized changelog that looks like this. On line 98, we construct the release assets by listing in a single string the relative paths to the files that we want attached to the release, each separated by a single space. Then all of those values are used in the command on line 200. Note that whenever you attach assets to the release, they always should be at the end of the command and they don't require an option declaration. Since this is an authenticated operation, we give the GitHub CLI a personal access token through the GH token environment variable. And with that, the continuous deployment is complete and ready to run. In this episode, we looked at the continuous deployment part of the project's core CI/CD pipeline. We discussed its setup and the functionality we added to accomplish the goals we set out. Throughout this series, we showed you an example of by no means perfect, but a very functional implementation of DevSecOps best practices that for sure would improve the quality, speed, and smoothness of the development of any project. Feel free to use the code we presented here in your open source projects. We'd really appreciate you give the Pipeline Foundation a shout out when you do. The support of people like you allows the Pipeline Foundation to bring DevSecOps best practices to more and more open source projects, making the lives of developers and users just a bit better. Stay tuned to our channel for more presentations and tutorials on everything DevSecOps. Thank you once again for sticking with us this far. We really hope you enjoyed the content and found it useful. If you need assistance with DevOps implementation in your open source project, check out the description of this video, where you will find links to the Pipeline Foundation project board and onboarding application submission. We are at your disposal. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts about this video, please let us know in the comments. And feel free to like, subscribe and strike the bell if you'd like to hear more from us. Until next time, stay safe and aspire to DevOps.